acércate, el bailongo es hasta que amanezca, un ritmo caliente, la disco se enciende.
My name is Giovanna Claudio-Cotto, and I am from Puerto Rico. My childhood was very happy. It started out in Puerto Rico, and I moved to the United States around approximately 7 years old, just before I turned 7, due to some unforeseen circumstances with my brother's health. My journey to the States was a very difficult transition. I knew no English. The only phrase I really knew was, I need water and can I go to the bathroom? When I arrived here, my parents really didn't know a lot about the schooling system. And in Puerto Rico, I was in private schools. So they immediately looked for a private school to put me in, which meant that there was no support for learning English. So that was a very, very difficult year, having to learn English with no support whatsoever, other than my mom, who was a teacher. She was an English teacher in Puerto Rico, so she knew the language and was able to support me at home. Other than learning English, my biggest struggle was the culture shock. Coming to the United States, there were a lot of things that were different from me, even from how you communicated with teachers on a daily basis. For example, getting in trouble. In my growing up in Puerto Rico, you put simple things like you put your head down when a teacher spoke to you, and here it was a sign of disrespect. How people spoke to each other, seeing kids interact with each other was much different. I felt that I had grown up in a system where you had to respect your elders, and seeing kids disrespect elders was shocking to me because it wasn't something that I was used to. I went to Hutch Tech here in Buffalo, and it's a little interesting because I went for biochem technology. So initially I had a teacher, Mr. Hurley, who was very, very hard. His class was hard. But that taught me that I couldn't get to places just because I thought I was intelligent. I had to put work. And trust me, I put a lot of work into that class. I cried. That was the first time that I ever cried for failing a test. First test I ever failed in my life. But he taught me the value of putting in hard work because life wasn't going to be easy. My junior and senior year, I was involved in a program called Angelo del Toro Hispanic Youth Leadership Institute. And a couple of my mentors from there were Denise Gomez, Dr. Jose Rivera, Michael Capurso, who no longer lives in the area. But they pushed me to see how you can get involved with your community. And part of the goals of the program is to see how you can impact your community. So that kind of began the thought process of how I can impact change. I then decided to go to the University at Buffalo, and I went in originally for chemistry because of Mr. Hurley, and then I switched over my major to political sciences with a pre-law concentration, and that's what I finished my undergrad in. After graduating, immediately, I graduated on a Sunday, and a Monday there was a position available to substitute in Buffalo Public Schools. And my mom said, you really don't have a plan. Why don't you just substitute for the next month and a half for this teacher that's out on medical leave? So I was 21 years old. I walked into this classroom, and after the first day, I loved it. And I said, I don't even know why I went to school for this, because my whole life, I always helped out in Sunday school. I always knew that I liked teaching kids. So that got me on the path of seeking a career in education. And the rest is history.
I'm joined by Benny the Butcher.
This is D from the Projects.
Rick G.
Dr. Kelly Lucci.
Hey, what's up? Mr. D. Wilson.
It's Michelle Visa.
I'm Nishar Muhammad.
TJ Iceberg.
This is How I Came Up.
This is How I Came Up.
And this is How I Came Up.
How you doing? My name is Sam Hill, host of How I Came Up. Do you have a success story that you would like to share with the world? If so, please go to SchoolMoveTV.com and submit that story. And just maybe we'll allow you to share that story with the rest of the world.
Greetings, McKinley High School and seniors! Today is cap and gown pickup day. We're so excited, right?
All of the struggles that I feel that I had to encounter as a student, not having that support made me want to help students in their journey. I encountered in high school kids who felt hopeless, kids who felt that their only options were to go to work right after high school, kids who felt that they had no hope, that their neighborhood basically defined who they were going to be after high school and really had no goals. So going to college, being able to experience different things, having the support of teachers and mentors and my parents along the way really helped shape who I was, and I wanted to become that for other people. I wanted to show them that you didn't have to be defined by stereotypes, you didn't have to be defined by your neighborhood, that you could seek to do better than even your parents did, because that's always what my parents pushed me to do. Both of my parents ended up with master's degrees. My dad did it after I had even graduated from college. So that was the example I had, and I wanted to show kids that you didn't have to be defined by your circumstance. You could be better than that. I went into administration knowing that I wanted to impact change in a bigger scale than what I was having in my classroom. So I began, I went to study at the University at Buffalo. I did an internship at Cleveland Hill Unified School District and at McKinley High School, where I was working as a Spanish teacher. I gained some experience there and became a dean of students, where I worked on some of the student support systems within McKinley. And I also worked with tracking attendance, tracking grades, and beginning a system of supports at the secondary and tertiary supports for struggling students. From there, the opportunity came to then become an assistant principal, where I was leading mostly the English language arts department, the English as a second language department, and world language teachers. It also gave me the experience and opportunity to begin work with on a larger scale with parents, beginning with the freshman academy students. And there the supports then began working with some outside agencies, such as Academic Talent Search, Liberty Partnerships. So now beginning these partnerships with the universities and looking at a larger scale how you can impact change now on the social emotional aspect and also the academic aspect, bringing in different stakeholders. As I became more comfortable in my role, then you start looking at the impact that curriculum has on students and how you can increase engagement by looking at the types of curriculum, how you present it to students. That experience in itself, some changes in administration in the building where I was working at, then gave me some leeway to really gain lots of experience and be able to bring that to the table. There was an opportunity to interview for principal, and I went into the opportunity thinking, let's see how this works. I've never really tried it. Let's see what happens, right? So I went into the interview thinking, maybe this can happen, maybe this can't happen. Let's see, God is in your hands. I've always been a person that has been grounded in faith. And when I went into the interview and they started asking these questions, in the back of my mind, I said, well, I can answer this, I can do this. And it came naturally as I began to talk, and I was offered Frederick Law Olmsted. I quickly accepted. I started in July of this year. It's been almost 2 months. It's been a lot of work, especially in this virtual style of learning that we've been starting with. But it has been a fun experience. It's been a different experience because it is a different school than what I was at. So the population and the community is different, but it has been a rewarding process.
I will be the new principal at Frederick Law Olmsted School number 156, which means that I will no longer be part of the McKinley High School family physically, although I will still continue to be a Mac at heart.
By becoming principal, it really was a historic appointment. There are very few current Latino principals in the Buffalo Public School district. Definitely females are scarce. There is one female principal at the high school level, and that's Gabrielle Moore-Ketchel. I am the only female Hispanic principal at the 5 to 12 level. There has never been a Hispanic principal at that level. My reaction is, praise the Lord. I am simply blessed. I am blessed beyond measure. God knows what He has done and what He has, the path that He has traced for me. Every challenge I have faced has been one that has taught me a lesson. So simply blessed sums it up really well. I couldn't do what I do without my family. Absolutely. My family has been my number one support system. So my mother has helped me all the way through with my children. I have 4 children, ranging in ages 5 through 17. And my husband has been there along the way. Both of them are my biggest cheerleaders. Growing up, I grew up in a 2-parent home. So my mom and dad always instilled in me the value of education, the value of seeking my careers. They've been there every step of the way for every important event. Everything I am is because of them. I owe it to them. What's next on the table? I am currently studying at the University at Buffalo for my doctorate degree. So I am in the EDD program for educational administration. Studying a doctorate is more of a personal goal of mine. When I graduated from my master's, as soon as I got my degree, it was something that my mom asked me for. Sorry if I get a little emotional. And my mom went through a very difficult process with breast cancer. She survived that process, and afterward helped me with my youngest son. She took care of him until he went to pre-K. I have never had to have my kids in daycare, so I thank my mom for that. And this is my form of saying thank you. Giovanna Claudio-Cotto, this is how I came up.
What is your name and where are you from? Hello, my name is Sam Hill. I'm the host of How I Came Up. How I Came Up is a platform for our entrepreneurs and professionals to share their successes and their struggles. And hopefully they'll give us some tips to success. Now let's get to it. This is how I came up.